Hi guys, so we'll be looking at the last part of Univariate plot where we're plotting for single variables, visualizing single variables, and we're looking at the violin plot. So that's what we are going to be looking at. Now the violin plot combines a box plot and a density plot. So it is a combination of a box plot and a density plot. Now, we have seen what a box plot does, right? Anomalies, outliers, spread. And we've seen a density plot looking at the probability of the variables, being spotted in different parts of the data. So you're visualizing random variables. And if you look at it in terms of the tips data set, we're looking at maybe bills. What are the probabilities of seeing the type of the bills being paid, right? So, and of course, we know probabilities 100%, 0 to 1, right? So, as to make sense of what are the chances. Now, we're going to be looking at both detecting spread and outliers and looking at the probability of the setting values. And so, that's the whole intuition for the violin plot. And so, let's just head up and create this plot, right? So, here we are going to plot violin plot. Again, really simple, SNS dot violin plot, and we have X, which is going to be a variable where we put our tips and index total bill, and total bill has been our column of interest, right? Next, we are going to have plt.title. It's almost always important to have a title. And so here, again, intuitively, we just say violin plot of total bill. Then we have plt.xlabel. And here we have total bill because we're just going to have one axis of interest. Then we have plt.show where we render our visual. Now, when we put this up, you're going to see what looks like a violin. But at the same time, if you look in the middle, you're going to see something like a box plot, which shows us like a distribution over here. But again, you can see what we have here is like a density, is like a probability density plot, and it shows you the area under the curve, letting us know how what are the probabilities of finding different bills being paid at any time in this restaurant. Again, to put it in perspective, we use the tips data set. Now, if you watch the first univariate plot for histogram, we introduced the tips data set from the Seaborn repository. And if I visualize it here, you see what we're looking at. So again, the violin plot is we're looking at a single variable distribution and we're visualizing it. And at this time, we're trying to kill, two birds with one stone, right? And we look at what the probability density visual looks like. And at the same time, we look at what the distribution of the data is, knowing that this interesting area is showing us our 25 to 75, the interquartile range, and in here being the median. But at the same time, we see over here, from this point, we see that we have our outliers over here. And from here, we can also see our minimum and our maximum values. Right here, we have our minimum and our maximum. Then at this end, we see our outliers over here. So, and again, the density plot tells us what the probability is of having payments for food around the $50 or 50 quid mark. So this is really an interesting visual. Now, the general idea about visuals, to close up, is visuals help us make us not take, it lets us not take summary statistics at face value, right? So visuals are really important, and visuals help us to do a lot of things. It helps us to explore our data. It helps us to look out for outliers, for feature engineering if we're looking to create new columns and understand our data, for pre-processing. So we're going to determine if there's need for a standardization or a normalization of our data before modeling. And it helps us to check for our assumptions using statistical analysis. So this is the last video for Univariate plots. Check it out, take your time and watch it. And also look at the codes and check out how intuitive it is. And then take your own data set and then make sense of the data set.